How hard did you push it till I black out? Yes. Numerous times, yes.
What's happening, MuniciPals? This is Big C. Ashton here as well. We're talking bucket list tracks this week. We're first going to get into some new tracks we played. Ashton, what did you play this week?
Big Chris, how's it going, man?
Good.
I went up to Petaluma and played Rooster Run. First of all, just thought epic name, epic logo. I actually have a new teacher I'm trying out up there. His name's Dave Johnson, so I had a lesson. And then I just thought it'd be a great time to say, hey, I got a lesson. And hey, there's never a better time to play than right after a lesson, right? It's not like you have new swing thoughts in your head, trying out new things.
Oh, that's not a way to shoot a straight 90.
Absolutely. Shot 85, but yeah, exactly. So Rooster Run, conditions were great. Very lush, very beautiful course. Greens were not the best, but I could tell they had been punched like in the last month. So what I said is all day I was like a lot of three. Well, I'll give you an example. I shot 41 on the front, 5 bogeys, all 3 putts. And you helped me connect with a new putter that I really like. But one thing you said is the 2-ball OG is going to struggle a bit on kind of slow greens. These were certainly not fast. So I'm really excited to get back out there and the greens are a little bit better. But what I really appreciated about that course, first of all, if you play from the back tees, which we did not, 7,000 yards. That's a grown up golf course. A lot of wind, and also really challenging hole location. So a lot of courses that we play, I don't mean to insult them, but a lot of it is kind of like driver wedge, or there are certain courses, there's kind of a charm that it's almost like
Bay Area, we've got very limited space. So, a lot of the tracks are older as well. Yep. So there's not a lot of expansion. So I mean, with today's technology, I mean, most people hit it between 260, 280. So you're getting a lot of driver wedge and a lot of the older tracks we played throughout the Bay.
The Rooster Run was not that. I mean, I think
that's good to know.
7, I think. It's the hardest hole in the course. And from the tee, nobody had played there recently. So we weren't totally sure. It looked like there was kind of like, not Branca, but some sort of like, it looked like we clicked it was like 290 and we're like, nah, like we all hit it far enough that like we couldn't quite tell if that was in play. So a couple people hit drivers. Marcus, no offense, blew it off the planet. Sorry, Marcus. So I think still made par. Of course, it's Marcus.
It's Marcus.
Marcus is a 2 handicap for all you folks out there. Just a total stick. Fabian hit a good drive. And then me and our friend Chris both hit hybrid. But just to give you context, par 4, I hit my 230-yard hybrid, and then I hit my 215-yard hybrid, and it was just on the front of the green on a par 4. So I think the big thing I really liked is it just required you to think on some golf shots. Like number 9, for example, I had a drive, kind of hit it left, had to hit a hybrid up, and then like over on the right side, there's this big like lake kind of in front, big undulating green. There's so many different places I could put it. Back left flag. So I hit driver hybrid 9-iron from this like kind of crazy angle.
Just so you guys know, Ash hits a generational hybrid. This thing is a 2 hybrid back. I don't know, might be 20 years old at this point. High bore technology, Cleveland hybrid, like right off the rack. Nothing special. I mean, but this kid murders this 2-iron hybrid. This thing just goes. I've never seen anyone hit a hybrid like this.
It's an automatic.
Just so you guys know, it's just, I mean, on par 5s, it's driver hybrid almost every single time for him.
And I'll tell you, I mean, the more that I hit that club, the more I play with people, like our friend Chris Hussey, I hit that club. He just goes, I know this is a dumb thing to say, but like, why wouldn't you just hit that on like it's 235 right down the middle every time? Like, it's like, yeah, I mean, there's a part of me that's like, I'm trying to build in guardrails and say, if the hole is less than 400 yards, I'm contractually obligated, Cleveland sponsor us, to hit that club. But I just appreciate, like, it's fun. Again, we're playing a lot of courses where it's like, it's straight, there are trees, the greens are flat, to have holes like number 7, where it's a really interesting, hybrid, interesting green complex, penalized left, crazy swale right, play 9 where it's like driver and then hybrid and then 9 iron, and there's like all this movement. I mean, for $44 walking with like we didn't wait on
Killer
one
rate
shot.
Bay Area rate.
I mean, as good as it gets. And regardless of where you are, 45 minutes north of San Francisco, accessible to everybody, $44, you know, and also too, some things that I care about. I got a great turkey sandwich, a great beer, and it was fairly priced. Like just the place that I'm really excited to get back to.
What I care about is, did anyone have the hot dog?
No. Marcus,
that whole group let me down.
Marcus brought a sandwich. Fabian didn't eat anything. Chris Hussey's been on a making pizza kick. And then I just got a turkey sandwich. So, actually, wait, Chris, I'm sorry. I actually asked. They were not serving hot dogs.
So Rooster Run just got a notch down from me, because if you're not serving a hot dog on the turn, notch down. So that course could be lovely, but man, I need a hot dog on the turn almost every time.
Yeah. So we'll have to, again, let's give it a month. Let's let the greens come in, but we should definitely go back. And again, like 1:30 tee time on a Saturday, never waited, $44. I'm in. What about you?
That's sick. Well, Friday, played the reserve at Spanos Park. I've never played it out in Stockton. Again, day before you played Rooster Run with Chris Hussey, had Chris Hussey join me on Friday out in Stockton. Also had our producer Jack, who you heard on the last pod, join up with us as well. Spanos was pure. First time ever out there. They call it a link style course. I mean, we all know links is only found on the ocean, but it's wide open, rolling terrain, big greens, deep pot bunkers all over the place, with giant walls. And of course, we all found them throughout the day.
Well, I was going to say, I heard from a little bird that you found, quote, literally every bunker. Is that true? So I probably 80% of the holes I found a bunker. They were well placed for my shot. 80% of the holes. I was hitting out of so many fairway bunkers. It was insane. Luckily, I switched my four iron out, threw a hybrid in there, so that worked out well for me. Got the new G425 Ping in there. Ping sponsor us. We're really open on club manufacturers.
We're really open, guys. As a club builder, I'm definitely open to all. So if anybody wants to send us product, we're definitely willing to test it.
But importantly, I just did the math because I'm bad at math. So just to be clear, you hit bunkers in 14. We can round up or down. You hit bunkers on 14 holes. Is that on Friday?
Easily 14.
Oh, okay.
And didn't play bad though. Training for our SoCal trip, because I'm sure we're going to run into plenty of bunkers down there. So definitely got some work in on the bunkers. It was great. I shot a modest 84. Didn't play great. Didn't play good. I was, of course, like always, putting new clubs in the bag. Switched out to the new sim driver. That thing is a weapon. It's uncontrollable.
Wait, Chris, not the new sim driver. You played the old sim driver, right?
Okay. New to me.
Yeah, be careful though, because people are going to think you're playing the fishing hat Dustin Johnson, the Bassmaster Classic Sim 2.
Have not played Bassmaster Classic. Haven't tried that guy. We've got him at work, hit it a couple times, like it, but rocking the old sim.
Which he's trying to put me in. For what it's worth, me and him have both been Maverick guys. He thinks he thinks it'll help me to put it in the bag. We'll see. I'm going to come visit you this weekend, doing ball fitting. I'm certainly going to replace my 5-iron if there's a club that matches. And
guys, very important. If you've never done it, from a club fitter, from a club builder, ball fitting is incredibly important. If you're a 10 handicap or below, going into a shop where they'll actually let you hit different balls, see spin rates, see how different clubs react, distances, everything, it will absolutely change your game. I myself was able to try 25 of the top market balls, compared every single one of them side by side with the driver, 7-iron, wedge, and really got to dial it in. I found what worked best for me. I always played Pro V1 in the Strixon Z-Star. I always thought those were the two kind of balls that worked great for me. I found out they were not even in the top list for me. I actually should have been playing the Pro V1 X if I was going to be in Titleist. And none of the Strixon balls even made my top 5. So
I thought
not saying they were good balls.
No,
I did. But right now, the ball fitting came out to be TP5X from TaylorMade. Best spin rates, distances, everything with that.
I saw the TXG. I have a feeling that's where I'm going to end up too. Because also for me, I don't like straight lines. So I really, I like my soccer ball. But I'm actually thinking that the new, either the TP5 or the TP5X, I don't know if it's PIX or PIX that has the logos on it.
Yeah.
That's probably its best. Because again, you probably know more than me.
Ball.
Because I'm playing the Chrome Soft. I'm an idiot. I mean, I have a fully custom bag, and I'm watching the TXG video. And they're like, "Yeah, Chrome Soft is for people with slower swing speeds." Like, I'm not acting like I'm Dustin Johnson, but I don't have slow swing speed. It's like, what am I doing? Like, I'm playing. Like, I watched them on that video. I'm like, I'm probably giving up like 8 to 10 yards off the tee at least. Like, I'm not playing the right ball. And thank God I have you in my life where I can go and that's what I do Sunday. I'm gonna go whack a bunch of balls and figure out to get dialed for the trip. But like, I'm literally just playing the wrong golf. Like, cause to your point, what's the point of having a fully custom set? And then like the one constant, the golf ball is wrong. Like, I'm embarrassed to say, but I just don't know. It's like Chrome Soft X. I like the pattern. Doesn't matter. It does matter, right?
It does. And, it's not necessarily any manufacturer is better than the other. For everybody's swing speed, style, how they approach the game, every ball is going to fit somebody differently. So it's definitely worth trying them all out. I mean, there's an insane amount of manufacturers, big manufacturer companies like TaylorMade and Callaway and Titleist and all of that. But you also can try out, the direct to consumer brands like Vice and Cut and, Snell. There's plenty of them out there for you to give a shot, and a lot of them will give you test sleeves for a cheaper rate and things like that. So don't just pick a ball because you see your favorite player play it, or that's the ball your dad played, or anything like that. It's worth checking out and getting ball fitted because it's definitely helped my game completely. But
and Chris, real quick, I'm curious, this may be too beyond baseball, but I think for our listeners to be curious. So you work at Golf Mart, you're a fitter.
Yeah.
Like, I can understand, like, when I come visit you and say, hey, I want to replace my 4-iron, which I did, and I love the club. It helps me, but it also helps Golf Mart because I'm buying a club. I don't understand in theory how me hitting 25 golf balls helps you guys at all. Like, how does how does that benefit Golf Mart for me to hit, especially with a wedge? I'm basically going to like nuke 25 golf balls. Is that just like a cost of doing business, or how does that work for you? Or is that too behind the scenes?
We don't necessarily do ball fittings. It's something that I've actually tried to get my boss to implement. You would think that hitting that many wedges would demolish them. To be honest, you kind of get to know what is going to work for you after 2 or 3 shots. If the spin rates aren't there,
hit a bunch, yeah.
No, and then you can eliminate 1 or 2, because you kind of know what the spin rates you're looking for. If you're hitting a 54-degree wedge, you're looking, in the 8,000 to 9,000 range is your goal, between 8 and 9,000. So anything under 8, eliminate immediately. It's just not worth your time. To be honest, anything over 9 with the 54 might be a little spinny for a lot of people. So you might want to eliminate those immediately as well. And if they're not working for your wedge, there's no reason for you to try it out with any other club. So it's something for Golf Mart to do, or any store to do ball fittings. It's worth to kind of have a sleeve of every, top branded ball, put aside, because that person's going to feel obligated or wanting to come back to the person that spent the time to make sure that they got the ball that they wanted. And to be honest, you spend that hour to do a ball fitting, they're probably going to walk out with, it's $40 to $50 a dozen for top-notch balls. So you're going to walk out of there with $80 to $100 worth of merchandise. And then, as we all know, we all lose balls, so you're going to have to go back and buy more and more. And balls are something you replace on a regular basis compared to a golf club you buy and you keep in your bag most of the time for 3, 5, 10 years. Mm-hmm. So there's more return on
a week.
And there's more return on purchase and value, getting somebody in the correct ball, because they're going to want to keep replenishing those.
Sure.
So yeah, that's in a rabbit hole. That's us, going down the retail path.
I see you on Zoom now, but I will see you on Sunday, because, like I said, I need a ball. If there's a hybrid that works, but we'll talk about that offline. But I will see you on Sunday for sure.
But back to courses we played this week. Saturday, I headed out to Laguna Seca in Monterey.
Oh yeah,
I wanted to play that
double round
this weekend. Wanted to play Laguna Seca for a while. Very deceiving by pictures on their website. They were definitely taken the week of creation by Robert Trent Jones, because
what does that mean?
The course on the website looks pristine. In every picture you find on a lot of different, media outlets show a pretty pristine course, and it's not necessarily what I got when I arrived. The course was a little rough around the edges, a little miskept. The greens, I will give them credit, were in really, really great shape.
That's all that matters.
Rolled great, ball, stuck when you wanted it to. Really receptive, appreciated that, but very lacking in fairway grass. They were very spotty. But the layout of the course, very true to Robert Trent Jones course. The bunkering was very fingery, large greens, pretty wide open. It was a great layout, and I really enjoyed it. The weather out in Monterey was great. The wind was kicking. I mean, we had 15 to 25 mile an hour winds at points, and
that was us at Rooster. I mean, we had consistent 15 miles an hour the whole time.
Oh, it was just
we were playing two clubs into the par threes.
The greatest shot I've probably hit in a while. First tee shot, playing with the new guy from RGCSF. Really, really fun guy, Jeff. And we tee off on the first tee, and it's about a 360 yard par 4. I tee it up. I crush it with the weapon. It just is floating. The new sim. I would say we probably had 15-mile winds at our back, so I definitely had some help. But by the time I got up to my ball, I was 10 yards from the green. I had a 350-yard elevated tee shot with a 15-mile-an-hour wind. Definitely some assistance there from both of those, but it was a missile. I mean, you've seen me with my Mav prior to this. I struggled with it. I got real spinny with it. I hit great balls, but it went really high and fell like a dead duck. They just went nowhere. Where with this,
it's just funny because my driver, I mean, honestly, my biggest problem is my driver's been more of like low and stingery. Like we have
yours is completely opposite of what mine is, and we practically have the same setup, except you've got a very custom pured shaft in the Draco, where I've been messing around with shaft after shaft after shaft and could not find a combo to work with me in the Mav.
Yeah.
appreciate my rep with Callaway, who blessed me with the driver. I will still own it and keep it with me. It just has not worked for me. I'm going to try out the Epic Speed as well. Maybe stick with Callaway if that guy works with me.
I was going to say, Chris, stop. Like I have receipt proof last night. I've not even told you this. I was sitting in my car. I'm an idiot. After golf, I was stressing out because I was late for dinner. I left the light out in my car. So last night I had to move my car for street cleaning. Battery's dead as a doornail. I'm sitting on the street waiting for the tow guy to show up. And you're texting me, bro, all caps. Like, this thing is like what you had done. You said straight up, like, if you trade in your Maverick, all you have to do is pay his tax. Like, you had me hook, line. You're not even trying to sell me. You had me hook, line, and sinker. So I love you. Hit the Epic Speed. And unless you're hitting that, unless you are now hitting like Xander Schauffele, I'm going to come have an intervention, because based off of your text messages, I think you found your driver for a while, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably not leaving the bag. It would take a lot for it to.
And it sounds like a brick.
To leave the bag. But hey, if my Callaway rep wants to try to get me to check out the LS Epic Speed, I'll give it a shot. We'll see, but it's definitely got some big shoes to fill. But
in Callaway, just like last week on No Laying Up, they're talking about how amazing the driver irons are. We will also tell our listeners how, even though like I'm a hybrid guy, I would love to tell how great the hybrid. If you wanna throw me and Big Chris some Epic Speed drivers, or some driving irons, we would love to talk about how much it's changed our game. That's all I'll say.
We'll leave it there.
Yeah.
So getting into the meat of the sandwich, we are going to be talking about bucket list tracks today. A few different topics through that. We're going to start out with some local tracks that we have not played that are still on our bucket list that we want to, hit sooner or later here. For me, it's a little different. So I run an Instagram called West Coast Public Golf. My goal over the last 2 years is to play as many or all of the public golf courses on the West Coast. So basically I included California, Oregon, and Washington. So I've played a ton of tracks. I think I'm approaching close to 200 at this point between the 3 states. So I've really, pounded the pavement and gotten out to a lot of different tracks. So the Bay Area, since I was born and raised here, and I've really been on this mission the last couple of years, I've kind of been able to tackle the majority of those guys in the Bay Area. So my local tracks reached out. We're all in California, but reached out a little bit. So let's start off with Ashton. What were your local bucket list tracks that you got, since you are newer to the area and less experienced playing in some of these courses?
Yes, sir. So I don't know that I'm going to have like incredibly nuanced takes here, because also selfishly, a lot of these are things that playing golf with you and hearing you talk about tracks has definitely shaped my opinion. Courses that I never would have known of. Never would have known of. First and foremost, though, it's got to be Pasatiempo. I mean,
yes, sir.
When I moved to Atlanta in January of 2019. I knew that I wanted to leave Atlanta probably April of 2019. And I knew I wanted to come back to the Bay Area probably August 2019. I probably watched videos about Pasatiempo or the No Laying Up video 20-25 times, really kind of falling in love with golf course architecture, Alistair McKenzie, and just realizing that unless, being from Atlanta, there's a chance. But just unless the world comes perfect where I can have the ability to play Augusta at some point, it's the best I'm ever going to get, right? I mean, I might be able to play Royal Melbourne, like maybe if everything else is like the chips have to fall perfectly. I could right now book a tee time at Pasatiempo tomorrow and play. It's expensive, but worth it. So for me, that's absolutely number one. I mean, Alistair McKenzie's the GOAT. It's our part of the woods. I mean, you've played there, you said 4 times during high school.
Yeah, so I was lucky enough in high school to have a fundraiser tournament, scramble tournament out there every year that I got to play with my dad. And, it was a incredible experience to be able to go out there at the age of 14 through 18 and play those fundraiser scramble matches. So for anybody that hasn't played PASA, it is just absolutely worth every penny. I would say if you're anywhere in the Bay Area and you're in Monterey, please drive up to PASA. I would rather you pay $300 to play PASA, if I'm going to really to be honest, than play Pebble. And that's a fact for me. Pebble is one of those places you play, you experience, and you're good, in my opinion. PASA is somewhere you play, you absorb, and you want to come back endlessly. Yeah. You end your 18 and you want to go play another 18. You almost always want to get 36 when you go out there, and it always leaves you wanting more. The views, again, at Pebble are incredible, but there is something about being in the redwoods and being up on the mountain and seeing Alistair's house and the design. It's just otherworldly. And the redesign that just happened out there, I actually have not played the redesign. I played it in high school, and I'm an old man now, so that was a long time ago. So I haven't played the redesign. We need to get out there and just drop the money and get that done.
I was going to say, there's no need to, because I told you when you played last week, my work team, God bless them, for my birthday, they knew I was moving out here. They had heard, I was in work meetings talking about Pasatiempo. That's what I'm saying. Like, my non-golf work team, they got me a gift card to Pasatiempo. So I told Big Chris, he's, maybe this isn't news for the podcast, but moving back to Oregon in June, I said, before we go, let's try to find one of those discounted rates. I mean, it's still going to be expensive, but I said, we got $350 with our name on it. We're going to go out there. So I'm already telling you, like, there's going to be a lot of fun podcasts coming up, but when we have the opportunity to recap our day at PASA, that's going to be a good one. So, unless something crazy happens, that's going to be my first time. So my first time, your first time post redesign, it's going to be a special day. I'm already so excited for that. So that's number one. And Chris, also, like, in this situation, like, I'm going to say this stuff, but please chime in, because like some of the stuff you have more contacts than me, like this next one. Number two, Dark Horse. I'm going to turn it over to Big Chris. Everything I know about Dark Horse is through, like, what stuck out to me was, again, he'll tell you more, but he was like, yeah, it's a place where if you want a beer, they're in a cooler and you put $3 in a Coke can. And I was like, yo, sounds dope. So Chris, take it over. Tell the people about Dark Horse.
So Dark Horse is a gem up in the hills of Auburn, California. On your way to Tahoe, great stop. Even if you're not on your way to Tahoe, 2.5 hour drive from the Bay Area, worth the drive every single time. They tore down their first clubhouse a while ago, and they literally were just rocking a Airstream trailer for a while, and you would just roll up. They had a cart barn. It's not the most walkable course. It's very, very hilly. You definitely can do it. I see a lot of people walk it, but it's definitely a rider's course just because of the amount of space that it takes up. They used to have the Airstream trailer pull up. They just have your classic Coors Light, Natty, all different types of beers. Everything was $250. You pay in cash only. It's a little elevated now. They've got a tiny little clubhouse. They've got some merch. It's a little bit more of a Sweetens vibe now, from what I've heard from you, where they've got, really tiny clubhouse with just a little bit of merch in there. A little, beer fridge with some Coke and Gatorades in it. And then they don't have a restaurant at all. It's just a wife and husband duo that pulls up in their truck with a hot dog stand, with just selling beers and Cokes out of a cooler. And it is just my favorite type of vibe. You know me and hot dogs. It's great, solid hot dogs, great Polish dogs and hot links with some, fresh cold beer. It's the best way to start a turn, start a round, end around. It's just great. Great grass range with a really, really fun chipping and putting green to practice on as well before you go down.
That's dope.
Yeah, full double-ended grass range. So it's one of the coolest things.
What?
So double-ended grass range, and on the other end, there's an entire another chipping and putting area.
It's like a legit golf facility, man.
It's an insane golf facility up in Auburn, and just rolling hills, beautiful Bermuda sands. They redid the entire sand traps probably about over the last 5 years or so, and it's just white Bermuda sand. It's absolutely gorgeous. Greens are immaculate. I mean, I can't say anything more. Up in the hills on your way up, the foothills on your way to Tahoe, it's absolutely incredible. I mean,
okay, we've talked about this. Let's get out there like in March. Let's do this soon, because I'm more excited for Pasa, but like I would say that like Dark Horse is number 2 on this list behind Pasa, because truly, I mean, it's the course you've got me most stoked about.
And the rates there are unmatched. You go out there on a weekday, it's 55 with the cart, weekend 69 with the cart. I mean, you just can't, the kind of golf you get for the rates that you're going to get, it's absolutely worth it.
Yeah. Moving on, I'll make this one quick. PG Links, it's the, what do they call, poor man's pebble. Front 9, very pedestrian. Back 9 is sick, very affordable. It's as good as you're going to get. From what I've heard, it's as good as you're going to get for the price in Monterey. Not even close.
Not much to talk about there. Pacific Grove, it's been talked about all over golf. If you're into golf and you're into Monterey golf, especially, Pacific Grove, it's one of those tracks you just have to mark off your list.
And Google it and you'll see it.
Yeah.
And then these last two, again, Chris, I'll have you chime in. Apple Mountain, similar idea, kind of up near Auburn, right?
Opposite side. So off of 50, if you're going to South Lake Tahoe, you'd be more inclined to pass up into Apple Mountain. If you're going to North Truckee area, then you would definitely hit Dark Horse. Apple Mountain is just a cool little resort course, public track built up in the mountains, a lot of elevated tee shots, uphill, par 4s, just a really fun, entertaining design that you could, go out with your friends, have a bunch of beers, and really, really enjoy the day. The weather is always really great up there. If you go out in October, November, you could hit up the apple farms and get fresh apple pies and go see the pumpkin patches.
Super
cut
good.
down your own trees.
I've done that before.
Fresh apple cider. I mean, it's a cool little vibe up there. So you can take the whole family, sneak out and play 18 in the morning, and then go out and do the apple picking and go and see a lot of different things up there. It's a great time. I dig Apple Mountain.
Yeah, and then last, again, have you chime in. My God, so much on our RGC group, so much talk about Yocha. Tell me about Yocha.
Yocha Dahi. This place is a casino-owned track out in Brooks, California. Really just immaculate course. I mean, you cannot get any better than the conditions you're going to see at Yocha. It's always pristine. They've got refrigerators full of water on a lot of the holes, which is just super insane. Very resorty, but the design of it's part of going out and playing. It just comes
so
with the entire thing.
Unbelievable. It's not very
resorty.
MuniciPals, but hey, let's go.
Hey, it's public. So you can book it. You can book a tee time. Everybody can play it. But you're right. It's not a municipal track. It is a resort course owned by an Indian casino, but it is absolutely fun as hell. You will not. It's wide open. Not a lot of places you can miss and get in trouble, but it's nice and long. Definitely inclined for the long hitters, elevated tee boxes that create insane views of the entire valley in Northern California. it's definitely something to check out. Off the beaten track a little bit, off of I-5, off of 80. So you got to drive out to it a little bit, but it being a casino course, you can stay at the casino, have a little fun there, and get some golf in. So, they always got stay and play packages and stuff that you could probably get in if you're not looking to just drive out and play.
Well, that's my 5, largely aided by Chris. And now Chris gets to explain to you why courses in San Diego are on his local tracks.
Oh man. Yeah, so I had to reach out a little bit. I'll start off with one local track in Monterey. It's one of the only ones that I need to mark off my list besides Quail Lodge. And it is Spyglass. So it's one of the 3 in the Pebble Beach Resorts circle that I really have been wanting to play. I'm actually going up to Monterey for my 1-year anniversary with my dear wife, Margaret. And she's allowing me to go out and play. Unfortunately, could not score a tee time at Spyglass. So I'm going to also mark off one of the 3 tracks that I need to mark off in Monterey, which is Bayonet. Bayonet is one of 36 holes on one piece of land between Bayonet and Black Horse. I was lucky enough to play Black Horse back in September, so getting Bayonet marked off is going to be a good time out there. And then, of course, we're going to San Diego, like Ashton just said. I've always wanted to play Torrey Pines. You want to talk about municipal golf? This is San Diego-owned municipal to its finest. I mean, I don't think you can find municipal better than this across the United States. It is the north and south tracks. Both are on my list. It is just a gem I've always wanted to do. Haven't ever been able to make it work. It's just with this trip that we're going on, we tried to fit Torrey in, but because they just had the tournament out there, the rates are a little costly. So we're going to skip on Torrey on this next trip we're going on in a couple weeks. And then the third track, Northern California track, just outside of the Bay Area, is Rolling Hills. So Rolling Hills, another Indian casino owned golf course. What I'm excited about is the length of it and the person that designed it. So the person that designed it is the one and only John Daly. So anybody that knows me, I have 2 favorite golfers outside of Tiger Woods that I grew up absolutely idolizing. And I don't know if you want to idolize John Daly, but the vibes the man gave off while playing golf were some of the most entertaining things you will ever see in sports. I mean, I don't know if you want to speak on that, Ash. I don't know if you've got to watch a lot of John Daly when he was in his prime, but the man was just a vibe on his own. I mean, smoking darts, drinking on the course, carrying cheeseburgers from McDonald's in his golf bags. I mean, the dude was on another level.
No, totally agree. And the only thing I have to add is the fact that man won a British Open. I'm not going to play this like America is superior. It just makes me laugh.
It's the best thing ever. A guy
John
with a
Daly
mullet,
won a British Open, wearing
a blonde mullet, legit blonde mullet, smoking darts, winning British Opens. I mean, that's all you got to say. So Rolling Hills casino, Indian casino owned, long track, very rolling hills, open. I mean, it's designed by a guy that bombs a ball. So, I mean, it's wide open. It's definitely a bomber's track. All right, yeah. So Rams Hill is the next track that I would that is on my list. It's one that we're going to play on our next upcoming trip. I've had it on my bucket list for a long time. It's a new track. It has been built very recently. So I'm really, really excited to get that knocked off in a couple weeks. Hopefully we'll get 36 holes in there. Unfortunately, they wouldn't let us book 36 holes in advance. So we basically are going to play our morning round and hope for the best in the evenings. So that's it for my local bucket list tracks. Next, we're going into the top 5 outside the U.S. This one I'm really excited about. I actually have not played golf outside of the West Coast. So outside of the U.S. is a bit of a stretch for me. I know you've played a lot of East Coast golf, but I don't think you've played any outside the U.S. as well. So let's start off, Ash. What do you got for your top 5 outside the U.S.?
So I tried to go for a bit of variety on course styles, because I think you and I don't want to speak for you, but if someone to say like, oh, what's your kind of preferred style of golf? It's definitely kind of that core Crenshaw design, like more like you found a golf course as opposed to like you manufactured a golf course. When you see my list, you'll also see there's a course in particular that's like, it's manufactured golf, and that's okay. So first of all, Tara Eady. I feel like Tara Eady, it's been everywhere. I know Eric Anders Lang did a video, Knowing Up did a video. I think it's private, but you need a letter of recommendation from your club. And I think I get my handicap through NorCal Golf Guys. I don't know if they'll write me a letter, but we'll see. Definitely want to play there. Would love to go there with my dad. Right on the ocean. There's also, I think, if I remember Solly on Knowing Up saying they're going to be building a public course nearby. So the cool thing is in the coming years, I think that's going to be an area where like we could actually go down to that area, have a letter of rec, play Tara Eady, then play a couple other tracks there. So that's number one for me by a mile. Next, in that sort of same vein, Kari Cliffs. I know you have Cape Kidnappers on yours. Very similar idea, basically. Golf way up on the cliffs in New Zealand, right? I mean, that's it. Like, just like you're basically playing on fingers of rock. Like if you blow one right or left, it's not only gone. Like, I mean, it's falling like 12, 13 stories down these like cliffs, Kari Cliffs. So I'd love to play there. To your point, really Bodega Bay opened my eyes to your point where it's like, yo, golf on the ocean, like love Sandpiper, but like golf on the ocean's different, and playing on the cliffs would be something, super unique. 3, St. Andrews. I'm not going to say another word. That should be obvious.
I think
4,
we both have that on our list. So
have to.
Yeah.
4, Ballybunion. I wanted to go kind of just like crazy Irish golf. Like I want it to rain. I want to be wearing my Gore-Tex. I want 40 miles per hour. I want to hit, 5 irons that go 90 yards. Like, I mean, not all the time, but like if I'm going to go to Ireland, Ballybunion's probably my best bet to get nuked by Mother Nature. And then number 5, sort of my off the beaten path pick, thank you to No Laying Up, is Adair Manor. So I think they're having I should have looked this up, but they're having the Ryder Cup there within the next 10 years. And I remember on the No Laying Up video, Solly says, if you ever want to know what it's like to play golf where every single lie is perfect, the turf is perfect, the greens are perfect, it's just perfect. It's like the most pristine golf course ever. Again, there's a giant manor. Everything is down to a T, just perfection. I think that'd be really fun. And especially because, this is what they did and I would hope to do too. I'm pretty sure they went from Ballybunion to Adair Manor. So to be on the coast getting nuked by the wind and then to go inland to Adair Manor where it's like dead still and this just like pristine conditions, I think that would be great. So those are my 5. Tara Eady, Kari Cliffs, St. Andrews, Ballybunion, Adair Manor. What about you, Chris?
I think that is a solid list.
Thank you, sir.
So I'm starting out with an inland track in the UK, Sunningdale Old Course. So it was designed by Willie Park Jr. in the early 1900s. It is, again, very similar to the track you just talked about. Pristine. It is just immaculate condition. Everything is done, incredibly well. It's going to be the host of the Champions Open 2021. So it just is one of those courses. It's one of those courses probably missed by a lot because it's not an Irish or Scottish track. I don't think England or the UK really get as much, it's much gravitas when it comes to how good their courses are. So I think, having Champions Open out there and really shining some light on some of those UK tracks and how good they are is something that I think I would really like to see. And I'm really excited to eventually go out there and play Sunningdale. After that, out in the Scottish Isles, Machrihanish Dunes, a David McClay Kidd course. I've always wanted to, ever since I've been little and watched the Open with my dad early in the morning on TV. I've always wanted to go out and play Scottish and Irish golf. Having David McClay Kidd build a course out there, I know a lot of people from Scotland and Ireland are probably saying I'm skipping over a lot of amazing tracks out there. But selfishly, living in Oregon and California and McClay Kidd designing so many wonderful tracks out here, it's a guy that I'd also want to experience over there and see really what the differences are between the two.
And also too, this is a MuniciPals podcast. We're not trying to compete with airspace on, Tom Coyne. We both love Tom Coyne, both read his book. If you want to go talk about Irish golf, we're not your guys. Again, he'd probably say like Adair Manor. It's like, yeah, man, like this is my list. So we're not trying to compete with Tom Coyne.
Exactly.
We love the Golfer's Journal.
And so third, Old Course. Again, we're not going to get into that. Everybody, if it's not on your list outside of the US and you haven't played it, I mean, you're crazy. You have to play Old Course. Cabot Cliffs is one for me that ever since I've seen videos of it from other social media platforms, it is something I've always wanted to go play. Bill Core, Ben Crenshaw track out in Canada. It's just, it looks absolutely incredible. Again, oceanfront course. I'm a sucker for it. I grew up in California. I grew up playing oceanfront golf. And so anytime I see a new course built on ocean, it gets me. It captivates me. I have to check it out. And Cabot Cliffs is on another level. It's in Cape Breton in Canada. It's picturesque. You just can't get better than that. And then my last one that I have, again, we were just talking about New Zealand and the courses out there. I mean, there's a reason why so many films are made out in New Zealand. It's just one of those landscapes that you're just not going to find anywhere else in the world. And that's Cape Kidnappers, Tom Doak track. Again, oceanfront, cliffs, everything I want in a golf course, natural landscape design. It checks off all the boxes for me. So that's my 5 outside of the US. So inside the US, top 5, I kind of cheated. I did not follow the rules. We're supposed to do 5. I've got probably 8 on here. Technically, it's 5 locations with multiple golf courses at some of the locations.
Boo.
You know what? You can hate all you want, but this is my fucking list, and I will do it the way I fucking want to do it. And
we're gonna do a top 5 that has 12 golf courses. That's not right. But hey, each his own.
It's the list. Okay. So I'll start off this.
Go ahead, Bassmaster Classic.
All right, you know what? So we're starting off with Stream Song. All the courses of Stream Song. I don't care how many are there. It's one location. It counts as one. I consider Stream Song the tropical southern Bandon. It's just everything I've ever seen of Stream Song is just picturesque, out in the middle of nowhere, beautiful. It's definitely hit my list, and it is the number one place in the US that I want to spend an entire week just playing and experiencing altogether. And then again, the guy that created the first Bandon Dunes track designed a wonderful track and resort out in Washington by the name of Gamble Sands. So another David McClay kid track, right on the cliffs overlooking the river and vineyards. It's just an absolute picturesque track. You get to stay in these really beautiful apartments / bungalows right on the putting green that is set right on a cliff. You just cannot beat the views that you're going to get at Gamble Sands from what I've seen and what I've been able to experience through social media and the websites and things like that. It just looks absolutely killer and something I need to check off my box for sure. And then another cheater here, we're doing Sand Valley, all 3 courses. I couldn't choose one. There isn't a favorite. I unfortunately haven't played them. I don't know anybody that's played them. So I didn't have an experience to pick one of the 3. They just all look absolutely incredible. There isn't anything more to say about that. If you know anything about golf course architecture, Sand Valley is top of the list for most people. And then I've got a couple gems in here, a couple unknowns that most people might not know. One is by the name of Marquette Golf Club. And the track that I'm talking about at Marquette is going to be the Gray Walls track designed by Mark DeVries. I mean, this course is just absolutely incredible. Right on the Great Lakes, overlooking the water, built into rock formations, hidden tee shots and blind shots into greens over rock formations. It looks absolutely incredible. And kind of a hidden gem most people might not even know exists or know it's there. But Marquette Golf Club is definitely on my list for U.S. tracks. And then after that guy, we've got the Manakee Golf Course. So Manakee is a classic Donald Ross design in Cleveland. About 17 miles outside of Cleveland. And it is Donald Ross, if you are a golf course architect nerd, is somebody that you definitely want to check out as many of his tracks as absolutely possible. If you're a Fried Egg fan and you've listened into those guys, you've probably heard plenty about Donald Ross. It has everything you're looking for in a Donald Ross track: up and down shots, back-to-back par 5s, dog legs. It looks absolutely incredible. So that's my top 5 U.S. ones that I've wanted to experience for a while. What do you got, Ashton? What do you got on your list?
Well, first of all, just to show you that I grew up in a household, to give my father kudos. My dad has been playing for probably more than 25 years. Him and his buddies have golf trips and competitions like us, which I'm so glad we're establishing now. But one of them is called the Ross, where they go to a Donald Ross course a different Donald Ross course every year and compete, which, we might get nuanced at that level, but I grew up, as a tiny little kid being like, my dad's going to the Ross. I did not know who Donald Ross was. I don't know what that meant. I don't have an appreciation for golf course architecture, but again, we could even have my dad on he's played 25 years worth of Donald Ross courses. Like, that's their entire agenda is what Donald Ross track are they playing. So I'll have to check with him and see if he's even played there, because the odds are probably pretty high if they've been doing this for 25 years and don't do repeats. So just a note there. So my 5, I did not cheat, no shade kind of at Chris, but I did not cheat. Cause I could say
stretch the truth.
Well, I could say abandon all of them, but I'm just going to say, I think Sheep Ranch I'm really excited for, but I'm just going to go Abandoned Dunes, the OG. I want to see it. Like, it started the movement. I mean, by the time, we have kids and, we're playing golf trips in our later years, like, Abandoned's probably gonna have so many courses, and that's going to be dope, but I want to play the course that started it all. So Abandoned's my number 1. 2, this is the Adair Manor of this selection. I don't want to pay for it, but I want to play Shadow Creek. I mean, it's fake. It's not sustainable. It's in the middle of the desert. One thing that really stuck out to me when I've heard about Shadow Creek is I love the idea that every hole is its own, because especially playing, again, Bay Area tracks, it's not a diss on Bay Area tracks, but, even Presidio that I love so much, you play 9, you're hitting balls into 10. You play 10, you're hitting balls into 18. It happens on 12 and 17. Like, you're just playing. There's a lot of golf happening across holes. And I just love the idea of being able to play like Shadow Creek, where it's like 18 distinct holes that are their own thing. I think that'd be really, really fun. And it looks like, too, I think the LPGA is going back there, I saw. So Shadow Creek is, we're going to be seeing a lot on our TVs. And I don't know, call me a loser. I think it's kind of fun to play. Like, it's fun to like watch Tony Finau play a hole and then we go play that hole. So I'd really like to play Shadow Creek at some point.
And I don't know if you remember the original Tiger Woods match back in the day.
With the lights? Is that the lights?
Yep.
Yeah, no, I do remember that.
Against David Duval.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, Shadow Creek has its history and definitely some fun things. I know they did a special event. I think it was one of the Mexico events that they brought there this year because of COVID. Yeah. It's definitely got a lot of play through the PGA and LPGA lately.
Yeah, and again, not sustainable, not best practice in so many ways. But
it's a true Fazio though. I mean,
it's true.
It's built, it's manufactured, beautiful landscape in the middle of nowhere that just looks obscene from above. I mean, that's just what Tom Fazio does.
So number 3 for me is Kapalua Plantation Course for a couple reasons. One, I just love coming out of the holidays when even in the Bay Area, it's cold, you're watching Christmas commercials, you're eating cookies, and then all of a sudden you see the best players in the world show up at Kapalua, watching them blow 400-yard drives on 18. It's just, I think they said shotgun start. There's a lot of like parasailing content. I love it. I mean, I would love to play there. A couple years ago, I was actually there when they were doing the remodel. I was not nearly as into golf as I am now, but I walked the 18th hole. I bought a visor and would love to go back. Also, too, I told you, Chris, before you press record, my dad and I used to play a video game as a kid. So I would say that one of my earliest memories of really loving golf was me playing a PC computer game with my dad. He was always a guy named Haida Medici. I was always a guy named Quentin every time. And the only course we'd play is the Kapalua course. We'd only play the Plantation course. So there's a lot of reasons why I'd love to play. And of course we wrap up and it's like, cool, you want to go like to the beach, have some tacos, I'm also thinking for the future, that would be a really easy way to, a couple's trip where it's like, you guys get massages, we'll go play the Plantation course, and then we'll meet up afterwards because, we're in Maui. So we'll put that one out there. 4, Bethpage Black. It's always sort of been interesting to me. Not only because of the, obviously the US Opens that have been there, but I also remember there was a John Feinstein book called The Open that was about setting up Bethpage Black. And it's really interesting because it's basically a book that's all about setting, like the logistics of setting up a US Open, like how long it takes, superintendents, merchandising. I remember reading that book probably 10 years ago. Really fascinating. I think most recently, not that this matters for me wanting to play there, but I think Brooks won there, right? I think most recently.
Yeah. And I don't want to interlude too much, but
no, please do.
What I love about Bethpage is it's very European style where you just have to show up in the morning, put your name on a list. They give you a tee time. Yeah, there is no given tee times ahead of time. You have to show up in the morning, tell them what course you want. They'll let you know what tee times they have. You pick one, and then you go grab breakfast, go back to sleep, and then come back at your tee time. And I think that's one of the coolest experiences that you're just not going to experience outside of the old course and a few other tracks, across the world. So I really think that's a fun experience that connects you with Bethpage as well.
Totally. And I mean, the sign's iconic, but it's just, would just love to play there. And then last, maybe the thing I should have had first on the list, Pinehurst number 2. I told you I almost put Pinehurst number 4, but if you're putting Pinehurst number 4 when you haven't played number 2, everyone can and should think you're an idiot. So I'm just going to put number 2. Would love to play all of them. I think number 4 is very close up there. The no leg up video is fantastic. But, Sally, who I think many of us played a lot of golf courses, I think he says it's the best. He says the best public course in America, and it's like up there for him as well. So would love to play there. So a good variety: Bandon Dunes, Shadow Creek, Kapalua Plantation Course, Bethpage Black, Pinehurst number 2. Also, we did not talk about this, Chris, but I think the one course that I actually don't want to play is the Ocean Course for 2 reasons. One, this is going to sound crazy. I'll have to ask my dad. I think I was like 5. Like my dad went out. We were actually out there for vacation. My dad played a twilight 9 holes at the Ocean Course. I was this big. He brought me out there. This is one of the strongest memories I have as a child. I was in one of the bunkers. Don't know what hole. I actually snapped my pitching wedge trying to hit it out of the bunker because it was so deep. And I started crying because I thought my dad was going to be mad at me. So I'm like a child, like 4, 5, 6 years old with a broken pitching wedge in my hand, crying in the sand because I'm thinking he's going to yell at me at the Ocean Course. And after watching the no leg up video, where literally all of them are like, I feel beaten up, I'm exhausted, it's $600, I got kicked in the face, I don't know what happened, I got wiped off the planet. I'm so excited to watch the PGA there this year, but I think Tron says in that video, he's like, I'm excited to watch other people play here, but I don't need to play here. I think like if I hadn't seen all of that content, the Ocean Course might be on here. But for the price and from what I've heard anecdotally, it's probably a course that we, watch other people play, i.e. Rory. We probably don't need to play there. But I don't know. It's one that like I wish could be on the list, but for the price point and how hard it is, I don't know that we need to play there.
No, I don't know. If it eventually gets there, I might play it, but I don't know if it's something that's going to ever make it to one of my top lists. But, finishing it up, we thought it would be good to have a Chris and Ash bucket list trip. This was kind of a hard one for us to decide. It's do we stay in the U.S.? Do we go overseas? Do we do an Australia trip, a New Zealand trip? And we kind of talked about, a U.S. trip. We'd probably stay in the South, and we'd hit all the South Carolina, Florida, Georgia, area. And I mean, the courses that you can play in those particular areas is absolutely insane. I mean, if we could ever plan a dream trip and have an entire month to play golf, because that's about what it would take for us to do. I mean, we would have the possibilities of hitting up, some of the best courses, I mean, in the world in just a short span of time. Down there, you basically, I mean, you can speak on it. You grew up in Georgia and in that area. But I mean, you've got Pinehurst, you've got Tobacco Road, you've got Bay Hill down in Florida, Stream Song, Copperhead, Black Diamond. I mean, it's out of control, the type of golf that you experience in the South. But I mean, we're talking pricey golf. I think me and you were talking prior to the podcast starting that, I mean, if we were to do a month in the South and play Pinehurst all the way down to Stream Song and hit as many of those prime courses as we can, I mean, we would need 20 to 30 grand to complete that trip. It would just be astronomical.
Yeah, and that's what I was telling you. I think our best bang for our buck would be the Robert Trent Jones Trail, because my buddies and I went there this summer. Just fantastic. I think it was, the golf was $102, all you can play with a cart. And I gotta say, like, the Judge is one of the hardest courses I've played, one of the most pristine courses I've played. And then they also have, like, it's not as good, but they have another course on property. So that's the cool thing. Every single course, every single facility has at least 36 holes on property. So again, $100 with a cart. And I told you, like, we're the first group off at the Judge. And we played, and then we played the other course. We went back to the Judge to play 9 more holes, and we saw a guy from the golf shop, and he was like flagging us down, and we thought we were in trouble. We're like, "Hey, what's up?" He goes, "Dude, we're just making sure you guys are okay. Like, it was 100 degrees today. You guys were the first group off. You didn't take a break. Like, you guys are at like 45 holes." We're like, "Yeah." He's like, "Cool, man. Like, love it. We just want to make sure you're okay." Because if you think about that, we did play. We played 45 holes. 45 holes with a cart. We're talking like $2 a hole. 45 holes with a cart at like pristine, like $102.
See, that is a classy move.
100%.
Driving out, making sure you guys are good. But that's just sick. I mean, unlimited golf for $102. I mean, yeah, that's unbeatable.
And the Judges,
Absolutely.
I mean, I can't say it again. The Judge is killer. I mean, the first tee shot is historic. Like, it's famous. Like, you're literally teeing off above the tree line. And then there's like water on the right side. Like, seriously, Google the first tee shot at the Judge. Like, it's crazy. I mean, I hit a hybrid off there, and like, it was up in the air forever. I was like, oh, it's in the fairway. Oh, it just kind of hovers up there. But yeah, I mean, I think bang for your buck, Robert Trent Jones is as good as it gets. And on top of that, I'll also give them credit. We found out that just kind of a fun fact, the Robert, like all of the money from the golf courses goes towards all the Alabama state employees. It goes toward their pension fund. So
that's an incredible thing.
You're almost like, I mean, you're helping. I mean, there's no other way to say it, right? You're helping Alabama state employees have a pension by playing golf. Like, win-win. I mean, it's a genius idea.
That's incredible.
And the whole reason they're doing it too is for tourists, but letting tourist dollars drive the pension fund for the state. I mean, no offense, Alabama gets a lot of stuff wrong. I don't know why every state wouldn't have a golf trail that sponsors some sort of state institution, right?
Absolutely. I mean, that's a no-brainer. That's definitely a golf trip that we are definitely going to do. I don't know if that's a dream golf trip, but definitely something that's going to be accomplished in the next few years. Outside of the U.S., I mean, I think Tom Coyne has gotten everybody excited to do an Ireland and in Scotland trip. So those definitely, if we were going to do a bucket list golf trip, I mean, spending an entire month or even 2 to 3 weeks in Scotland or Ireland would just be, you know, a trip to remember. So, you know, don't have to go into that. If you want to hear anything about Scotland or Ireland or read about it, Tom Coyne's got that covered. Look him up, Google him if you don't know who he is. Definitely worth reading and checking out his travels about all of Scotland and Ireland, and his new book coming out for the U.S. as well. So, you know, check Tom Coyne out for sure in that aspect. But yeah, Ash, I mean, this podcast, I think we covered a lot. You know, bucket list tracks, you know, places that we're definitely going to have to reach out to in the next little while here. So I'm pretty excited for the future of the MuniciPals and the adventures that we're going to have here. So it's got me pretty stoked with this topic here today.
Yes, sir. I thought this was going to be a short one. I think that what I'm going to learn pretty fast is there aren't going to be short ones, and it's got me excited for these trips. And yeah, man, I mean, we're T minus like 9 days out from our trip, and like
9 days out. I can't wait.
Yeah. I mean, after we hang up here, I got to talk to you about suggestions on range. I gotta, like I said, I got a lesson. I got to go get a couple things dialed in, got to get those new balls, maybe get that new hybrid, probably irresponsible to get a new driver, but just got to kind of start to tinker and kind of get dialed in because I love you. I want to fucking take your money on this golf trip. So I got to make sure.
Not happening this time.
Yeah.
I mean, we know, I hate to say it, Jack, but we're going to take your money again. It's going to happen.
I don't know. Josh got new irons.
He's got the new irons. I did play with him. He's still dialing them in. I'm hoping for my sake in my pocketbook that he doesn't have them dialed in by the trip, which would be great. Chris is having major issues, which is a plus for us because Chris is an absolute stick. So keep having those issues, Chris. I hope we're shooting 90s when we come into this round because Chris is definitely a guy that shoots in the 70s on an average, but right now he is just having all the struggles. And I hate to say this about somebody,
going up, they say like he's caught in between like holding patterns, right? Like it's because I'm just like, dude, like
big time.
When it's good, it's good. When it's bad, it's real bad.
And right now he's got a lot to work on. So I'm hoping and praying that Chris, I really do want you to get it together, but also I want to take your money. So if you don't, it's all good there.
You want him to get it together on Monday, March 8th, the day after the golf trip.
Day after the golf trip. That's when you can get it together, Chris. All right. Ashton, as always, it is an absolute fucking pleasure chatting with you. And I'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Love you, buddy.